Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest to Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. I am super excited today because I am welcoming back a guest that I had previously, Dr. Ewa, and if you have not watched her previous episode, it is a must see. Actually, I was going to tell her behind the scenes, but I feel like she 100% deserves the recognition. I received so many positive comments and responses from your last episode, and I was able to make so many reels because we spoke about, I believe, such really important, empowering conversations. And I had so many people say like, wow, I didn't even think of that option, or I didn't even think of that. So I really want to first of all celebrate you. And I know equally this is going to be just as impactful and powerful. I have really gone off this script, even though there's no script apart from the intro. And the ultimate reason why we are here today for this other incredible transformational episode is because you have a book out, don't you? So I would love you to just take the floor. I believe that all the descriptions going to have all the information they need about you. The other podcasts, which everybody is absolutely going to go and watch, they can have all that information. But right now, my darling, is your time to shine and share all about your new fabulous book.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me back, Shel Marie. It's such a pleasure being here, and I agree. I truly enjoyed the recording the session last time, and we covered so many important topics for women. So I'm so pleased and so honored to hear such a great feedback and that the audience enjoyed. So hopefully we're going to continue and share a little bit more. As you mentioned, I recently launched a book. It's called Empowered Leadership, and it's really my story, my way of sharing some of the insights from our career as an executive, as a leader, as well as a community advocate and someone who wants to mentor others and just give them a little bit of a blueprint. There is plenty of people talking about how can you get to every single stage, but they are not really sharing what it really took for them to do this. And
yes.
and all of the in and outs, right? I mean, you and I, before we joined in, we were talking about being an entrepreneur or being a leader. It's not the easiest thing. You have ups and downs. There are days where we all want to quit, but that extra push is what gives you the ability to succeed ultimately and make the difference in the world. And I think that's what we all want to, along with the financial monetization of whatever we are doing, whatever our mission is in this life. So in a brief, it really takes me from being a small girl in Poland, growing up and starting as having a stutter and not being able to always explain myself and communicate directly, to coming to the United States and doing my education here, then ultimately entering healthcare research industry and really loving it, and then taking it now, thinking about the next steps. What is the legacy, and how do you lead leaders, other leaders, as well as impacting community? So the moment I'm not here, there is benefits that others can leverage from.
Absolutely. That's super important what you're sharing so much already. Because I know for the people that haven't watched the previous episode, that I feel like what you kind of touched on, just to really like highlight it, was what we were saying about right at the start, which I'm sure you're going to share, is it's almost often like, and I wouldn't like to think it's always intentional, but I feel like there's almost like this don't tell them everything because they won't return, and then I won't gain anything. And I feel like in all areas, there's almost like this, just giving enough to keep not someone in a loop or a cycle, but like that. Okay, they need to, and there is an element of figuring it out. It's really important for us to figure it out. There isn't a like give away everything, but there's a difference between kind of like the intention behind it, of like, do you generally, like what we were talking about, do you generally feel this person could, like, there's some sort of like worry that this person could maybe take your position or something? Or do you generally feel like, no, do you know what, I don't want to take away the gem that they will get from achieving it themselves? And I think this is very different, because I think we have to always go back to us, and it's like, okay, I got to that, going back to the previous episode, I got to that position, that I got that seat in that room, and I'm using my voice. So she has to be able to do that as well. Is that from a place of like, I had to do it so she can do it? Or is it from a place of like, well, multiple places of, what about if I tell her too much and then they want her instead? Or generally, is there enough abundance for all of us and we can both sit at that table? And I think that's very different. Just to go back to the intention all the time, and we deep down, sometimes we don't always know, we have to really sit with it, but often we kind of know what the real intention is behind what we're doing. So
I'm 100% with you, and I just want to say, as you made a comment, it has to be intentional, and is there enough room for everyone? And I would say, is I was at one conference where there was a lot of coaches, and we know that in the recent few years there was a lot of coaching, I guess, companies or organizations that have blossomed. But someone made a comment that while there is a lot of coaches, we all come in, or those of them, everyone has a different perspective, right? And you are going for a different audience, and your primary message is different. Absolutely. And what resonates with you or what resonates with me doesn't mean that it is going to resonate with someone else. And I think the room is always there. Is there always going to be a competition and saturation of the market? I think I was thinking about pivoting, but it doesn't mean that many people cannot find a way to be successful and help others, because there is different levels of support or advice that is needed. And I think it's really understanding what is authentic to you and what is the gap that you are trying to fill in, and be true to yourself, because I think very often if you're not true to yourself, it shows, and it's where you don't get that recognition. I think you have to be. So I always say is there is so much, this world is so big, there is so many people in this world, you can land wherever you want to land. It's just thinking about it, what it is that is appropriate for you, what is your message, and what is authentic to you. Because let's be honest, we all know that sometimes you can sense it when someone is not authentic, or they're just trying to get a sale versus really being genuine and help someone else. And I think that's that authenticity and that intention and that open-heartedness, I think it really helps spread the message across.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think to always like cover both sides as well, I think it's really important to see both angles of, I don't know about you, and we don't want this too much, but often sometimes those people are our greatest teachers as well. So it's kind of like, yes, you know, it's not saying this and it's not saying that, because I feel like we need an element of everything in our life and different types of people to come in to bring whatever it is that you need to be kind of rocketed to your next level, and because we're all at different levels, but as much as possible, if we could do it more with a helping hand, it would be much nicer than, you know, having to really dive deep all the time into, like what we say, what is the true intention behind things, and just really know, like what you said, someone speaking to me and someone speaking to you, we could literally say the exact message and it could just hit very differently. So there's enough abundance for us all. So I love that you said that. Thank you. So with that in mind, and first of all, congratulations for your book, amazing, and I love the title. Is there anything in particular that, well, first of all, what even sparked that? Like, where did, because I know that you are a writer anyway, and you have your incredible publishing, that we spoke about in the other episode, but yeah, I'd just love to know where it all came from, because there's even a creative process, I think, behind the title, how it's presented, what you include. So
yeah, great question. First of all, for the longest time I wanted to write my own book. It's really, when is the right time, right? And what is your message you want to be sharing? And also finding time. Very often we also are very busy. It does take a long time. It almost took 2 years from when I started to when I am right now. But it's for me, it was a leaving a legacy and documented a little bit of my own journey. And most people don't think about it, but um, there's always something from each of us to learn, and especially when you have a certain types of either career or experiences, others can really benefit from it. The other piece for me was I was already publishing or putting chapters into books, academic books as well as leadership books, and it was one of the organizations that ultimately became the publisher where we discuss what would be potentially the next step. What is that? How can we help the young women or any leaders, quite frankly, going through that? There is a lot of placement for books that talk about extremely successful people, and I think we all need that. But it's also there is also a need for some people just need a little bit of a guidance to get even to the first level. Sometimes people do not even know how to start themselves in a career and so forth. And while we want to be talking about the most successful individuals, I think we all, like you were saying, everyone is at different levels, but you also need the stepping stone a little bit as well, and just open up about what it is that drove you. How can you identify what you want to be doing, and then once you achieve something, what it is that how do you teach others, how do you mentor others, and how do you get involved in the communities? Because very often people don't think about it. Recently I spoke to someone who has a small company, financial advising, and she asked me, why do you get involved in nonprofits? And I said, well, I get involved because I want to leave this world a better place, right? It's a altruistic part as a human being. I want to it. It's not only about, oh my goodness, I can pay taxes or I can spend money here. It's also thinking about it. What is the investment? The same way as we are doing investment in our education, in our career, we are putting money with a financial advisor so it grows, maybe buy a property. The other piece is also thinking about investing in our communities, because we can only create a community that we really want. So I think thinking about all of these, it was very important for me. The other piece was also, I am all about women in STEM. So finding an organization that was women's based and supporting them. So I am part of a board of Sisterhood Extravaganza, and they have a sister nonprofit publishing called Sisterhood Publishing, and talking to the founder of both organizations, it was very important for me to support the place where I was on a board and I already knew the great work that the organization was doing, but also making sure that the platform supports the message that it's in the book, because you want to be consistent in some ways. You want to reach outside clearly, but you also want to make sure that you're supporting the organizations and you are reaching, potentially thinking about it, what is the audience you want to reach and where is your lasting impression. So in the nutshell, for me, was leaving a legacy, documenting my own story, thinking about it, whom do I want to be speaking to? Where is the need where many, either men or women, both, or underrepresented groups really have a need, and created something that someone can read it. It's a pretty easy read, but also can really understand it and say, okay, I can do it as well. Yeah. It's not as far out. I know now A, B, C, and D, and I'm already doing most of it. Now how do I pivot, or how do I change? Or to be honest, how do I take a risk? How do I say to myself, I've been living in this world for 30, 40 years. Maybe it's time finally to do something that is for me and do this, because it's one thing that someone told me, and I was on a podcast yesterday, and we were talking about generations, right? Every 20 years is a new generation. Some people are baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, whatever that might be. Every 20 years we change and we go through, what do I want to do next, right? The first 20 years is your education, then is your career, family setup, and then get into your mid-40s and that so-called nervous breakdown, right? And rethinking where you want to be, and then you go into, and then you have a almost second career, and then you become a grandparent and you retire and so forth. So there's very distinct phases of each life, and I think honoring them and also understanding that the life is not over or the life is not ending just because you change your direction. There's so many angles you can go in, and I think it's more this is where I'm starting, this is what I'm thinking, and here's a little bit of a blueprint from me. Not that there's plenty others, but just to inspire someone to think about their lives a little bit more.
Amazing. I love that so much. And this is what I always get from you every time I connect with you, which is such a breath of fresh air. What I love is it's like you can feel the passion and everything that, you know, you have completely poured into this. But I also love that you say, okay, you know, this is from my heart to yours. This is not saying this is the way, or, you know, and even when you said about the 20 years, I think even with that, it's like, again, it's not saying like, okay, so you're in this bracket. We're all very different. We all boom and whatever like flowers at different times, and I think that's the beauty of it. So if what I'm right in thinking is that, like, when you're reading the book, you might kind of, like what I feel like I got from you, but please clarify, you're kind of like, oh, okay. No, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because then that's showing you you're on, not saying there's a right or wrong track, but it's showing you keep going. The nugget. Or, you know, you might read it and, like what you say, just be like, wow, I have got no idea about any of this. Okay, so you will see which part is going to help you. It's going to help you evolve, help you develop. But again, it's from a perspective of a woman who has walked the way already and is showing you her path and her truth. What you take from it is up to you, but what a blessing to have you take the time to shine your way, which is the beauty of it. We don't now have to be like, okay, A to B to C to whatever. We have someone right in front of you that is saying, this is what I did. This could be a blessing for you. Yeah, it's like what you say, your legacy. It's there then for whoever to pick up at the right time, and I love that. I think that's incredible. Thank you so much.
And I do want to say is there's plenty of leadership books, there's plenty of entrepreneurship, and I think books are over there, and we all can read and learn from whatever we wanna. You know, we are very blessed right now that Amazon and other places have make it very democratized access to these to books so easily, and we can do them in a very good way, and we can get people's feedback. And I also say that this is also a great way for anyone to, whether it's my book or someone else's. As the book was launching, I saw that it in business leadership was placed in the bestseller list next to John C. Maxwell, and what an honor is that, right? Yeah. So you think about it, it associates you with other people, and you can realize that while there are so many different books, we all are thinking about similar thing. We want to share some kind of knowledge or our nuggets of where we've been, what worked for us, and then what can you actually take it. And again, there is no script for anyone. We are, to your point, we are very different. We all have very different thoughts and ambitions, and also very different timings. It's not only the every 20 years, but it's also you need to know what you want to prioritize. And that's what I was also talking about. There's no really timeline. It's Martha Stewart had her company in 50s, right? There are so many people who exceeded expectations in 60s and 70s, and Betty White having all of this fame in her 80s. And I think we all have to think about it, that life is to enjoy it and take it for it is, and learn it from it, but also allow yourself to take that next step and not be afraid of it, because I do think that that's very many often people are a little bit worried. I was on a podcast yesterday with a few entrepreneurs, and one of the things that struck me, one of the persons said, is that very often people think that they are de-risking their life, but in reality they're actually risking it. Meaning, so the risk of not doing something is actually greater than we think. For example, staying in a job that you might not always like, right? Sometimes you have to because it pays your bills, whatever that might be. But what if you took that leap? And I think that's also what my book is thinking about. It is, there's always the second side of the coin that you have to think about what it is. And
I love that.
You know, and it says you always have to think about it. And that when that person said it, I was like, that's a great way of thinking about it. That think that we are de-risking for stability, and ultimately we are risking a lot of parts of our lives, and not, and it's a, and maybe not achieving what actually our potential could be. And again, potential can be in many different ways. Can be you want to have many friends, you want to have financial stability, you want to have a great career, you want to be known for something, whatever that may be. It's I think success can also be defined the way we feel appropriate at that given time.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
where are we in your minds? Because again, many people are thinking only about, oh, I want to be able to have millions of dollars in my bank account. If that's what makes you happy, that's perfectly fine. Others are thinking about it, I want to be comfortable and then be able to do community service and so forth. And I think that's also part of the book, that you have many different facets in which you can enrich your life and have your career or apply yourself into, and there isn't any judgment to this, because it's your journey, it's what you want to leave, and also what you are ready for. Sometimes we want to say we are ready for risk, but sometimes we are not ready, right? So it's also allowing you to step back a little bit and say, am I ready? And if I'm not ready, what do I need to get to be ready? Although I want to say this one thing, I read a book somewhere, a quote, you're never ready for anything, so you might as well do it, right? The side of it, don't de-risk it, risk it and go for it.
Oh my gosh, there's so much in that. Like, even from the start to the finish, and there's no ever any finish anyway, but I mean of just that one chunk you just shared. Like, I even heard, like, through you just saying that even in you doing it in the 2 years, that was your next step. That was your push, because you were led up to that point. So I love that. And with that quote as well, it goes back, I feel, to that we always think about but what if? Yeah, but what if this? Or how about this? Because I think, what's the worst that could happen if you send the email? But what about if you don't send the email?
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly the same space, same place. No one knows that you even had the idea. But what if you do send the email and they say no? They say no. But what if? Think of all the possibilities of what could come from it. So I love that. Thank you. And yeah, and the other thing I got, going back to the abundance thing, it's like the podcast. It's like, because if we go into that mindset of, oh, but there's so many books, there's so many podcasts, there's so many people saying this, that again, we're not seeing the blessing in it. It's abundance. It's abundance,
Access.
Like, you even receive the abundance, and we're knocking down the abundance. No, that's the beauty of, like, think of this whole world and where your book can be. Like, how exciting is that? It's your book. Who cares if there's however many more? They're not you. It's your book. It's this podcast, they're not us. So
exactly. And I do want to say this. We usually, as women especially, don't celebrate those achievements. And I think we have to. And we have to support each other. So I truly love what you said. We have a lot of abundance, and it's a wonderful thing, because I do think democratizing anything, it makes us all better. And as long as people understand it and know it and how to use it, I think that's a great thing. But very often, many women especially will never write a book or share their stories because they don't think anyone would be interested in reading. And I want to challenge that.
Yes.
Because everyone's point of view, even if only one person reads it and finds it beneficial or changes their perspective, that was worthwhile, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Not all of us are going to be millionaires because we publish one book, but the impact you can have ultimately going on to podcasts and doing your whatever Facebook posts of that, it's going to reach someone who is going to say, I believe in this message, and I want this message, and it resonated with me, and because of that my life has changed, or it pushed me to do something else. And I think we don't think about these little blessings that are coming, but even if we do not know that it changed someone's life, that someone else became better because of that. And I think we as women especially I wanna encourage everyone, write your own story. If it's not even for touching or connecting with anyone else, for your own kids, for your own family, for your nieces, for your nephews, leave that story behind, because there is something to think about it. And yes, it is grueling. It is not always the most fun. I had to learn a lot, and it can be frustrating, and you're looking at quite a timeline, but it's a blessing in itself, because you get to discover yourself, your thought process, and if it touches someone, if it resonates with someone, that is more than you can ask, because someone else looks at your life story and say, wow, this person is someone that I admire, or someone that I can learn from. And I think there is no better blessing or inspirational thought that someone can find you inspirational than that. So I would say is abundance is great, because we can get so many different perspectives, and I think we have to have multiple perspectives. But don't be worried about it. You're going to be one out of a million, because you might be one for someone, and I think that's more than it can be.
Absolutely. And even with that, the image I got straight away, because I think sometimes we make it about us, and it's not actually about us. It's not even about us. Imagine that generations or whatever, that little one seeing their grandma, their whoever on, it's not saying that your face has to be on it, but still, this was grandma's book. This is grandma's story. Even if, that little one, like, wow, this is something I can do. That's a legacy. That's a legacy, because through actions, we're showing the possibilities of what we can all achieve. And like what you say, sometimes it is often unseen. We don't always receive the instant feedback or the celebration. Like even with this, you could even be so focused on the numbers or something, but you've got no idea of the impact or what happened behind the scenes for somebody. And if I think we're tapping into like the real, I feel, word wealth, richness, what is wealth? Is wealth like ching ching ching, the sound of money and the heaviness, or is wealth really changing someone's life? Because I think we need to reprogram and reshape this as well, because if you're going to provide more richness and more life to someone and change their perspective and their outlook and better their life, for me that's rich, isn't it? That's a rich.
So absolutely. And I think we all have to think about it, that life is not only, or wealth is not only the amount of money we're gonna make, because let's be honest, we all can lose it tomorrow, right? I mean, it is very fleeting. However, experience and how you impact your community, how others what you say, how it resonates with them, and so forth, and what do you leave for them, or what do you teach individuals? It's that vast majority of experiences that creates that wealth. And I think one thing that I want also everyone to think from the book is, we are all building. There is no right or wrong experience. Every experience, how painful it can be, it's an experience that is lifting you up to whatever is the next thing, whatever is the next opportunity, because it's all about taking opportunities. And I don't want to say taking risks, because I think that sounds much more negative. Taking opportunities as they come and saying yes. And yesterday, during the podcast that I was on with other entrepreneurs, we talk about different books. And clearly one of the books that I really enjoy is the 5-second rule, because the 5 seconds, it was very changing for me. It's also, it allows your brain not to wander, right? We all are there's always plenty of, and I think you said that beautifully with the team, or sending the team or not, but our brains tend to go into what it might be if I do that, what might be this, versus thinking, no, I'm gonna do it because there is an upside, your positive thinking. And I think sometimes we are allowing ourselves to not take an opportunity because we are overthinking it. So I would say to anyone who is listening, I am an extremely analytical person. I'm an overthinker as well. And before your brain starts going off, take the leap and push yourself in it, because you can always stop, right? But you cannot restart anything. You can always take that leap for a moment and say yes to something that you would never say yes. Take an experience that you have never said yes to. Meet someone that you would have never spoken to, because these are unexpected experiences. This is what shapes you and ultimately makes you grounded, more open, and also able to see many different perspectives and help you in the future. So as you're going to be reading my book or any other leadership book, think about it that very often it says with saying yes to something that you would have not thought about saying yes to never saying to quit when it gets hard is that one more push that pushes you forward. And if anything one can think about, I think these are those two things. Say yes and try one more time, because that one more time can take you to the next phase of your life, that to the next boundary, to the next sky limit that you are thinking about. And I would say is do that and go and really meet people and really read and learn from the experience. And for those, and again, who wants to write a book, write your book, because it's a great experience. Not only that it's good for your mental, because writing up stuff is very important, but also it's gonna give you more gratitude and more kindness to yourself, because you're gonna realize what a wonderful life you've had and how you overcome so much more. So the next challenge that is gonna come, you will know that you can survive it because you survived so much more. And I think that, even knowing that about your own self, it's more than you can give to yourself, and gives you the ability to take it the next challenges, and not de-risking your life, but as you're risking your life the best way you can.
Oh, I love that so much. And I know we touched on this in the previous episode, but you also offer people an opportunity. We don't have to go from 0 to 100 of writing the book. Dr. Ewa has this incredible, there's more information, and if you want to share it, you're more than welcome to, but it's all on the other podcast, where she will literally, she can offer you an opportunity to write something now with guided support. So, it doesn't have to go straight away to a however many page book. It could be an article, okay? So just remember, there are steps that you can take in everything. And just something else that came up, because I don't want to take too much more of your time, because I really value you and your contribution already. But something else that came up with the 5-second rule and the sending the email was, I think sometimes we almost put things on a pedestal of will they like me? What are they gaining from you? Let's change this a little bit, because actually maybe take that 5-second rule and change it to, okay, think of 5 reasons why they are going to really benefit from you sending this email. Your passion, your enthusiasm, and get that energy before you then do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 push send. Because I think often, we forget about the actual person that's actually a part of the blessing and the contribution.
I'm with you. I think that's a very well said. I think reframing is very important, and I want to finish with that. We all have value, right? Each of us have extreme value, and I think we need to acknowledge that we are one in a many billions of people here in this world, but each of us has a value. Each of us has a story, and to your point, whether it's a book or a chapter or a page or a Facebook post, whatever that might be, it is worthwhile to share. And always think about it, that we all have, if we don't send that email, to your point, maybe someone will not have the opportunity to get to know your message, and how empowering that is, that it's not only I'm gonna do it, but it's also I am doing that because I want others to see what my story is, how great I am, how inspirational I can be. And I really love that reframing as well. And it's a very important, especially to all of you women here listening, reframe yourself. I really love that. And empower yourself and cherish and celebrate yourself. And the final word I would say is, be kind to yourself. We women are not very kind. We're kind to everyone else but ourselves. So let's be kind and celebrate each other, and go with intention, with purpose, and in the celebration, and giving ourselves the gratefulness of being in this world and really enjoying the life that we are all in.
Wow, absolutely beautiful. And so many, again, I'm even going to listen straight back to this and get so much wisdom again from you. Wise words, lovely comments, so much inspiration and empowerment. And usually I will say, if there's any final words you would like to say and share, please do. But I feel like you just shared such a beautiful message. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your time again. And I know your book is already such a huge success because it's got all of your energy and your wisdom and your knowledge and everything that you're representing in it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shel Marie, and thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate being here.